Welcome back, everybody, for another deck profile. This one was actually a lot of fun as I'm just going through all the cards, going through the new cards specifically from Shimmering Skies. I'm like, I really think Blue Steel might be the deck that goes under the biggest transformation. And that's because it got so many good cards here. Like, what was the downside to the deck before? Your early game, you're playing a blue deck, you're ramping. Luckily, you would still have the steel engine to where you don't lose to aggro, say as bad as Ruby Sapphire would. But at the same time, if they jump out on you and you don't see a grab your swords, you might be in a bad spot. However, even Ruby Sapphire, like both of these decks now, the Sapphire engine got so much stronger with this set, and I'm actually really excited to test it out. This is definitely a more experimental list than a lot of the ones I put up on the channel. Usually I try to take most of the experimenting out of it and give a more final refined list. I just think there's so many new tools for this deck that it needs some testing. And this deck, once it gets figured out, it is going to be scary. This version does come in at $235, so on the cheaper end, 17 uninkable cards, so not too bad there either. And our first new addition is Chicha, Dedicated Mother. Emperor's New Groove got so many new good cards. Support, 2-1, but more importantly, during your turn, when you put a card into your inkwell, if it's the second card you've put into your inkwell this turn, you may draw a card. Key wording there, if it's the second card. It's not if it's more than one you draw a card. It's the second card. So if you do it twice in a turn, you sing 2 1-jump aheads. You don't get to draw a card in that regard. She is uninkable, but it's a 2-cost body with 2 strength and a potential draw engine. I think she's going to be... Oh, we just lost our deck. I think she's going to be a standard as a 4 of. Again, calling a whole new ramp because it's a whole new way we're going to ramp the deck. And the next card we're going to talk about there is Tipo Growing Sun. So, is that why it went out? Because I did that before? It is, isn't it? Because then I backed out. Okay. I'm going to stop clicking on the card like that. Anyway, Tipo Growing Sun. When you play this character, it's essentially Fishbone Quill on turn 2, but it's a body. You put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down and exerted. 3 of him. I think Chicha's the better 2 play. And again, we're still not committing super hard into them early play lines. You want to be able to hit your later plays a little bit. And there's another card on 2 that we're going to talk about in a bit. And we've round out, well, the sister gets forgotten about. It kind of feels like Family Guy Meg type situation going on where we forget about the sister. But this is family friendly, so we're playing Cusco instead. Pacha. At the start of your turn, if you have an item in play, you gain a lore. That's pretty good. 4 willpower. That's pretty good. Quest for 2. That's pretty good. And if you're playing a location like McDog Manor, you also get a lore if you have a location in play. Keep in mind, if you have 2 items, you get 1 lore. If you have 4 items, you get 1 lore. If you have 2 items and 1 location, you get 2 lore. There are 2 separate effects. If you have an item, you get a lore. If you have a location, you get a lore. If you have more than either, you still only get 1. But I think Pacha is actually really good. I just needed space for things. So maybe he comes up after some testing, but maybe he doesn't. I think he's still worth testing though. We saw Argus, we see Lawrence. Both of these cards see play. Personally, I'm going with the 4 willpower 2 quester to answer things like Sisu, to put 4 damage on a location, to do things like that. I think both are decent cards, and if you're playing either one, personally, I just like Lawrence over Argus when it comes to the 2 of them. They serve very similar functions. Pete, Games Referee. This card is going to be one of the defining cards of the format. When you play this character, opponent can't play actions till the start of your next turn. Cool. And, I mean, at least for now, they can't even play it on your turn. So it's really like they just skip an entire turn for actions. Not characters, not items, just actions. Songs are actions as well. Singing them also counts as playing them. To Belle. We get to 10 ink very, very easily, so her questing for 5 is insane pressure, especially out of a 4-cost character. And you also get that additional ink when you put her down. Well, when she's on board, you can ink twice. Keep in mind when you ink twice with her effect, it must be an inkable card because you're not using an effect. She just grants you the ability to go ahead and ink one more time. 4 Hirams, draw engine, draw engine, draw engine. 2 Simba. I like this card. I've seen quite a few people say it's not worth it. It's not good enough. Rise of the Titans is much cheaper, even though it's a body. The other card's cheaper. It's not that good. I think locations are going to be decently popular. And if they're not, you can always ink him. In addition to that, though, this deck ramps, so it's not like you're playing him on 6. You're playing him as early as turn 4 a lot of the time, which means you are directly answering a Queen's Castle whenever they decide to drop it without challenging. 2 Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. I still like her in there for the aggro matchups. 2 Mufasas. I think we have enough ways to get through our deck and be consistent. I don't think you need more. Being able to reset your inkwell, especially with a card like A Whole New World, is absolutely broken. When he quests, you ready all cards in your inkwell. There is no storing mana or pooling mana, whatever, like from Magic. This is not Magic. Magic players need to get over that. I see it asked almost daily still on Facebook. You cannot do that. Whatever ink is exerted, you ready it when he quests. That's it. You can't exert them, not do anything, pool it up, and do it later. 9 willpower, quests for 4, and when you play this character, exert all cards in your inkwell. Again, that's okay, especially if you play him when you have 8 ink. You're exerting it all anyway, but then you return 2 random ones back into your hand. So, that early Tinkerbell, that early Tamatoa that you didn't want to have to ink, there's a chance you get it back. You don't get to look or know. They're at random. So, if this were me, I'd say you would have to shuffle your inkwell, because otherwise it's not at random if you remember which order you place them in. You'd shuffle your inkwell, put 2 back in your hand, or say you hit a card off the top of your deck. You don't know what it is, but it turned out, what if it was something important? Now there's a chance that you can get that back. And again, then say the turn after you play him, you can go ahead, use all your ink, play out your cards, and then you quest with him, you ready your ink, and then you play A Whole New World. Or you play some of your cards, you play A Whole New World, just hard playing it, paying 5 ink. Then you quest with him, and you ready everything, and then you play out your hand again. Mufasa is absolutely insane in this deck, and I'm excited for it. 4 Tamatoas, because it's still the big old crab. He's still so shiny. Why would you not want to? I think Develop Your Brain is out. Looking at 2 cards to add 1, why not wait one more turn and look at 5? Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. When I made my updated Blurple list, I missed this card completely. I want to update Blurple again. This card is insane. If you're playing Sapphire, Vision of the Future, look at the top 5 cards, put 1 in your hand, the rest on the bottom. That's fine. But you get to look at 5 deep and get what you need. That is so insane. I thought Hypnotic Deduction was good in Emerald. That is good. Maybe we make a Sapphire Emerald deck. I think the consistency's there. We just got to find the end game. 11 songs. We're playing How Far I'll Go. With our uninkable count, I did opt out of the 1 jump aheads. I think playing Tipo and Chicha on 2 are just better. And then you come back on 3. Sure, you could sing it. So if you want to play 1 jump ahead, I don't think it's bad. However, How Far I'll Go is not only a consistency card, it's also a ramping tool. And I think it is very, very strong. Along Came Zeus. Duh, Let It Go, duh, and again, A Whole New World. However, we are only playing 3 of it, but I think that's okay, because there's just so many cards, like How Far I'll Go, again, consistency card. Vision of the Future, consistency card. Your Hiram, draw engine. Your Chicha, potential draws. You have your Popsicles, your Fortispheres, which are draws. We're playing a little more character focused than the deck maybe used to be, so I'm actually going for Great Stone Dragon instead, but we are playing Whole New World, so if you want to play the Fishbone Quill, you can. I just figure between Tipo already kind of fulfilling that role and playing more early characters, Great Stone Dragon to me has more utility and value in the deck now compared to last format. And then lastly, Lucky Dime for just closing out those games. 12 items in total, 11 songs, 4 actions, 33 characters, and that is my whole new ramp. What do you guys think down below? Did I change the deck too much? Did we put too many new cards in it? What's your thoughts on Simba? I think that's the card I'm most up in the air on. As far as Cusco's family, minus Meg, I actually really like those 3 cards. I think they are great, and I think they're going to be seen in a lot of Sapphire decks. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, comment down below.